During her last months, the once famous Ivana Trump battled agony, loneliness, and the crushing burden of loss. Little was known about the difficulties the stunning socialite encountered as she retreated from the spotlight. The world was captivated by more than simply her awful demise. An unforeseen turn of events occurred during her funeral. Surprising everyone, one guest stood out among the grieving. The complex network of connections and people in Ivana's life must be explored in order to grasp the gravity of this event. The birthplace of Ivana Marie Zelníková is a location that most people would have a hard time locating. The Czech Republic was once home to the little village of Gottwaldov in Czechoslovakia. Ivana was born on February 20, 1949, and her childhood was characterized by both loving parental guidance and firm rules. Milos Zelníček, her father, was an electrical engineer who had faith in the strength that comes from working hard. While raising her daughter Ivana, who would go on to become famous all over the world, Marie Frankova juggled her career as a telephone operator. Ivana was never going to be a typical kid. She had adults in awe with her precision skiing skills by the time she was 4 years old. Her dad saw her potential early on and became her toughest coach. Anyone trying to think beyond the iron limits of the Soviet era's authority had a very hard time. However, skiing held a special meaning for Ivana. For her, it meant getting out of her little village and seeing the world. Skiing became an even more natural talent for Ivana as she matured. She was able to escape the confines of Czechoslovakia thanks to her position on the junior national ski team, which she had secured by the time she was a teenager. Ivana honed the quality of resolve that would characterize her life throughout these formative years. However, she had other interests outside skiing. Ivana was resolute in her pursuit of higher learning as well. By 1972, she had obtained a master's degree in physical education from Charles University in Prague, one of the most esteemed schools in the nation. Ivana, though, wasn't limited to the realm of academia. She hinted at her talent for the spotlight with a 1970 appearance on the Czechoslovak children's show Pan Tau, which was both short and memorable. Ivana was no match for controversy, even if she excelled in the classroom and on the field. Her claim to having competed in the 1972 Winter Olympics as a Czechoslovak alternative skier was made in 1988. At first, everyone believed her at her word, which only served to heighten her aura of mystery. Not everything was what it appeared to be in Ivana's life. The fact that her claim had been contested was revealed years afterwards. No records of her involvement existed, according to Peter Pomezny, Secretary General of the Czechoslovak Olympic Committee. Skepticism around Ivana's story was further heightened in 2021 when Snopes found that Czechoslovakia had not even sent female alpine skiers to the 1972 Olympics. Truth, however, was never going to hold Ivana back. Even in her private life, she possessed the gift of storytelling. A daring decision Ivana took in 1971 altered the course of her life in irrevocable ways. She wed the Austrian ski teacher Alfred Winkelmeier. A loving marriage did not exist in this union. An important strategic choice was made. Ivana was able to escape Czechoslovakia without being stigmatized as a traitor after marrying Winkelmeier and obtaining Austrian citizenship. It was a strategic decision that allowed her to spend time with her family while also opening doors to prospects overseas. The marriage, though, did not last long. Winkelmeier moved to Los Angeles to teach skiing in 1972, and Ivana filed for an absentee divorce from her husband. This period of her life came to a swift end, but it had been useful. As a result, Ivana was able to finally break free and go after her dreams. The following stop for Ivana was Canada. She was swept up in a tornado of love, loss, and reinventing herself in Montreal. In 1973, she became involved with playwright and lyricist George Stadel, but tragically she lost him in a vehicle accident. George Siravatka, with whom Ivana had been seeing since 1967, eventually moved in with her. A prosperous ski store in Montreal was owned by Siravatka, who had defected to Canada 2 years prior. Despite Ivana's repeated claims to the contrary, the couple never actually tied the knot. Ivana remained unflappable even when faced with the difficulties of Montreal life. She did modeling out of necessity rather than pleasure while working as a ski instructor. She worked as a model for clients including Eaton's and fashion designer Aukie Sanft while also taking night classes at McGill University to enhance her English. As she planned her future, her most famous modeling engagement was for the 1976 Summer Olympics in Montreal, which kept her engaged with the sports world. In 1976, she made a decision that would alter the course of her life in ways she never would have predicted. Ivana met Donald Trump, a brazen and ambitious real estate magnate, while in New York City for a modeling job. As far as Ivana was concerned, it wasn't a case of love at first sight. She wasn't interested in finding a new relationship because she was still seeing someone in Montreal. Contrary to expectations, Donald did not agree. He had no patience for rejection. Donald showed the characteristic doggedness in his pursuit of Ivana throughout the next months. 100 roses were his gift to her. Lavished her with dinners and continued to phone her non-stop even after her return to Montreal. He finally succeeded after much effort when he showed up unannounced to one of her Canadian runway shows. When Christmas rolled around, Ivana could no longer ignore the link. Their destiny was sealed when Donald extended an invitation to Aspen for a holiday. With the snow falling all around them on New Year's Eve, Donald made a daring proclamation. "You will destroy your life if you do not tie the knot with me." Enthralled by the occasion, Ivana consented. From the start, the marriage of Ivana and Donald Trump was a true showpiece. Nobility and social elite flocked to the historic Marble Collegiate Church in New York City for the opulent wedding on April 9, 1977. Ivana, who looked stunning in her wedding dress, was about to enter a realm of wealth, power, and unrelenting ambition, not to mention a marriage. What ought to have been a romantic beginning to their marriage, a vacation in Mexico, brought a shock that neither of them had anticipated. There was a pregnancy in Ivana. She gave birth to Donald Jr., their first child, on December 31, 1977, towards the year's conclusion, starting their family dynasty. Although Donald's marriage was about more than just family, all eyes were on you because of your pivotal role in Donald's fast-growing real estate empire, a story of business, power, and prestige. She was named Vice President of Interior Design at the Commodore Hotel, which Donald was converting into the Grand Hyatt Hotel, when he noticed her excellent taste in design and attention to detail. There was an imprint of Ivana's touch on everything. Decorate she did not. She was responsible for the opulent settings that would come to represent the Trump name. Their business partnership was strong. Ivana was more than an extra. Particularly during the construction of Trump Tower, she took the lead. The swanky, luxurious furnishings that became the building's signature were clearly influenced by her. Still, her tenure as Plaza Hotel president stands out as one of her crowning achievements. The Plaza became much more than a hotel because to Ivana's leadership and vision, which were on full display here. It came to represent the refined style of New York. Their personal lives, however, were starting to show signs of strain, even if they had achieved professional success. Their high-profile lives started to take a toll on them by the late 1980s. Instead of being a joyful time of celebration, the 1989 holiday season marked a turning point. When Ivana met Donald's mistress Marla Maples on vacation in Aspen, her world came crashing down. The confrontation was hardly a private matter. The tense encounter, which became tabloid legend after witnesses retold it, was fraught with tension. The sting of betrayal was too much for Ivana, who kept her composure in public. Scandal and public attention caused the marriage, which was once considered a formidable partnership, to start falling apart. The harm had already been done, even though they tried to maintain a facade for their children's sake. It all came to a head in February of 1990. Many were astonished when Donald shocked them all by locking Ivana out of her Plaza Hotel office. This was more than just an affront, it was an indication that the marital and professional partnership was breaking down. The couple's prenuptial agreements were the subject of subsequent legal disputes, and the media pounced on every naughty detail. Tragically, Ivana's father, Milos, died away unexpectedly in October 1990, adding to the public drama. His past as an informant for the Czechoslovak Secret Service only served to deepen her sorrow upon learning of his death. A rare moment of unity in the middle of their turbulent separation, Donald stood by her side during this trying period despite their ongoing divorce. One of the most high-profile and controversial divorces of the 1990s was finally settled in 1992. The media went into overdrive after Ivana made horrifying allegations of rape and cruelty against Donald. Ivana received a significant settlement of $14 million, along with $650,000 in child support, their Connecticut home, a unit in Trump Tower, and 1 month at Mar-a-Lago each year, notwithstanding the severity of their breakup. Ivana and Donald continued to live together following their divorce. Their bond gradually eroded as they placed their children first. Their capacity to set aside their differences for the benefit of family unity was demonstrated by Ivana's attendance at Donald's 2017 presidential inauguration. Even as president, Donald sought Ivana's advice frequently and valued her thoughts, despite his many flaws. Marla Maples later voiced her own remorse for being the catalyst for the scandal that led to the dissolution of Ivana and Donald's marriage. She longed for Ivana's pardon, expressing her love for Ivana's children and her want for peace. The intricate family dynamics that had developed over time were highlighted by the continued closeness of Marla's connection with her stepchildren, especially Tiffany. Ivana Trump tried to start again in love and in life after her widely publicized divorce from Donald Trump. A charming Italian businessman noted for his extravagant displays of love devotion, Riccardo Mazzucchelli, captivated her in 1991. Riccardo frequently went to lavish measures to gain her attention during their relationship, which was reminiscent of a Hollywood film. He once showered an entire room with roses after a casual lunch, which left Ivana feeling both pampered and curious. A 10-carat diamond was Riccardo's first proposal to Ivana, but he was dead set on getting the two married. Despite the enticing offer, Ivana turned it down. However, Riccardo persisted. After 3 years of waiting, he asked again, this time accompanied by a breathtaking Burmese sapphire, and Ivana finally accepted. Despite the promise of a new beginning, their 1995 marriage was short-lived. Their relationship swiftly deteriorated, despite Riccardo's professed love for Ivana and his assertion that he had provided more for her than Donald had ever done. Their marriage didn't end in a happy ending. Citing a violation of their secrecy agreement, Ivana filed a $15 million lawsuit against Riccardo. Their brief union came to a peaceful end after a contentious legal struggle. They ultimately settled out of court. However, Ivana's single status was short-lived. Count Raffredo Gaetani dell'Aquila di Aragon Lovatelli was an Italian nobleman whose name conjured up notions of antiquity and passion when she began a passionate affair with him in 1997. In all of Europe, Gaetani exemplified refinement. A man who enjoys the high life, exotic automobiles, and stunning ladies. However, he insisted to Ivana that he had put his playboy past in the past and was now concentrating on his business endeavors. They had a very romantic and mutually admiring relationship. In addition to being Ivana's lover, Gaetani was a supportive partner who valued her autonomy. For her birthday, he famously gave her a Ferrari in red, a display of his abundant fortune and profound love for her. In contrast to her past partnerships, Gaetani added a touch of sophistication to Ivana's life. Ivana Trump's ex-husband, Donald Trump, who was known for his harsh criticism of Ivana's previous relationships, even praised Gaetani, calling him a high-quality individual. Unfortunately, their romance did not last. A vehicle accident claimed Gaetani's life in 2005, devastating Ivana. One of her most significant partnerships, which had provided her with love and respect, came to an end with his death. A much younger Italian actor and businessman named Rossano Rubaconde was Ivana's final significant romantic partner. A whirlwind relationship developed between them, and in 2008 they tied the knot in Mar-a-Lago. A veritable extravaganza, the wedding. Partygoers included members of the upper class, and the atmosphere was as glitzy as one would expect from Ivana Trump. But they had problems right from the start of their marriage. It had only been a year since their wedding when Ivana and Rossano decided to part ways. However, their bond continued beyond that point. Their romance was in the spotlight for the next decade as they were frequently spotted together. They had such great chemistry on and off the dance floor that they even appeared on Dancing with the Stars Italy in 2018. Citing the challenges of a long-distance relationship, they apparently broke up for good in 2019. They kept in touch after breaking up and were frequently seen together in New York. However, tragedy struck in October 2021 when 49-year-old Rossano died suddenly. Ivana had become accustomed to his presence in her life, even as a friend, so his death was a devastating blow. Ivana Trump withdrew from the world she had once confidently commanded in her last months. She was once a lively socialite, but health problems slowly slowed her down and put a pall over her life. She was very reclusive due to her fear of contracting the COVID-19 virus. Because of her extreme fear of getting the virus, Ivana isolated herself in her New York townhouse, avoiding the glitzy social circles she had once enjoyed, despite the availability of immunizations and other precautions. Ivana stayed indoors for more than just the fear of getting sick. The physical toll of skiing, a sport she adored and was very good at, had built up over the years. An everyday reminder of the physical toll her busy lifestyle had exacted, her hip was a continual source of discomfort. Even basic pleasures like going out to her favorite restaurants became impossible due to the incapacitating pain. Many of Ivana's friends, like Zach or Dem, reflected on how the pain prevented her from leaving the house and engaging in the activities she loved. When she slipped and fell in a restaurant, catching her handbag on the floor, her condition deteriorated even further. She was already hurting from her injuries before the tragedy, and now she feels much more alone and in pain. The passing of Rossano Rubicondi, her ex-husband and her final true love, only added to her emotional load. Although she never came out and said she was depressed, Ivana confided in her closest friends about the overwhelming grief she felt at his death. Ivana struggled silently with her grief over Rossano's death, a wound that never completely healed. The morning of July 14, 2022 followed. Tragic events marred an otherwise ordinary day. The news was much more tragic than the initial reports that Ivana had a heart attack. The tragic fall that Ivana suffered at her townhouse occurred on the stairs. The medical examiner in New York City ruled her death an accident after determining that she suffered blunt force injuries to her torso. Her loved ones had dreaded her awful conclusion. She had a steep staircase at her house, and her friends had been concerned about its lack of current safety features and faded carpet for a long time. Nikki Haskell, a trusted confidant of Ivana's, had even declined to remain at her residence due to the uneven steps. However, Ivana persisted in residing in her cherished townhouse, a location brimming with recollections of her remarkable life, in spite of these worries. Something was amiss when Ivana's personal assistant and cleaning lady were unable to contact her that morning. They asked a maintenance worker for assistance in unlocking the door. A simple yet painful detail in the aftermath of such a complicated existence was the discovery of Ivana's lifeless body at the base of the stairs, with a dropped cup of coffee next to her. It was fitting that a burial for someone of Ivana's prominence, which took place on July 20, 2022, would be a lavish affair. She was joined by her 3 children for the full Catholic service held at St. Vincent Ferrer Roman Catholic Church. The 3 children, Donald Jr., Ivanka, and Eric, spoke adoringly about their mom. There was a veritable who's who of high society in attendance, including Baron Trump and former First Lady Melania Trump. Although many were expecting to see familiar people, Vanessa Trump, Donald Jr.'s ex-wife, surprised everyone by showing their breakup was public and characterized by rumors and drama. Whenever it concerned Vanessa's troubled marriage to Donald Jr., Ivana would give her honest view. The intricate network of relationships that Ivana had skillfully maneuvered through her life was evident in her presence, which she used to console her daughter Chloe. The unanticipated arrival of Vanessa served to emphasize the lasting impact that Ivana continued to have on others in her life, even after she passed away. Ivana Trump's impact on everyone she met, not only her children and the empire she helped build, will ensure that her legacy endures as her loved ones bid farewell.